This is Caribbean News Desk. I'm Dennis Chabrol. First, the headlines. Trinidad and Tobago grappling with school violence. A special elite unit is in the making. In Guyana and St. Kitts and Nevis, more talk on no confidence motions. And in Jamaica, continuing the hunt for oil.
We are one Caribbean, one people, one nation. We will share destiny. Too separated we are, as one let's come together. One market economy, Caribbean is how it should be. Let's support, carry on, for Caribbean unity. It takes you, it takes me, for Caribbean unity.
Trinidad and Tobago has set up an elite multi-agency unit to combat gang violence in and around the schools in the wake of the murder of a student in a troubled community of that twin island nation. Gang violence in schools is a growing problem in many parts across the Caribbean. Power 102 FM reports that the Ministries of Education and National Security are teaming up to deploy police and other personnel to pick up information about planned violence and, if possible, intervene. Minister of National Security Gary Smith has announced the formation of a unit to target high-risk schools.
We have decided that we are looking to arrange a very small but an elite unit, and it is going to be ROVIS, that is a reduction of violence. And that will involve specific persons assigned from the Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of Education, with other ministries from representatives from the Ministry of the People and Social Development and the Ministry of Sport. There are specific schools where students who are actually going to school or leaving school and it is high risk. Then we will put mechanisms to provide first the deterrent, and that can very well be the use of police or mobile patrols that will be very overt, or we can actually have covert operatives as well.
Minister of Education Dr. Tim Gopi Singh adds that several experts are to be trained to respond to gang violence in any school in Trinidad and Tobago.
We are setting up crisis management response teams with the support of the Ministry of National Security. In every school, we're going to be training all the crisis management team personnel in crisis management in case if there is any untoward event, an event that was similar to what occurred at the compound of the Success Lamantine Secondary School.
A section of Guyana's private sector wants fresh general elections, while government maintains that suspending the National Assembly is the best move. President Donald Ramotar earlier this week opted to prorogue the Parliament to stave off debate on certain passage of a no-confidence motion by the opposition-controlled National Assembly. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry is not hopeful that President Donald Ramotar's desire for dialogue with the opposition in the coming months will yield anything positive. Instead, the Chamber says it is clear that only national elections will end the stalemate, gridlock and failure to compromise. Head of Guyana's Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, hopes that when the opposition cools off, that they'll back down from their position, that they'll not be talking with government once the Parliament remains suspended. He, however, says if government does not succeed in resolving political differences, the Parliament will be dissolved and the Guyanese will go to the polls next year. Meanwhile, he says government must go down on record as making every effort to avoid a short-lived parliament without trying to salvage the parliamentary agenda that includes key issues such as telecommunication liberalization and anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism.
To irrevocably and irreversibly rub that out, I think it was something that none of us in the administration could have stomached. Not without a fight. Not without an additional effort. As the President said, if it ain't possible, so shall it be. But the records must show that the PPP civic administration went the extra mile to ensure that yes, We did all that was constitutionally possible and all that reasonably could be done to avoid such a situation. The inevitability of dissolution of Parliament on the 10th of November 2014 was a bit too much to stomach.
The Georgetown Chamber of Industry and Commerce adds that if the next general election produces a northern minority government, it means that Guyanese are demanding that the political parties must work together. The Chamber says that those wishes should be respected. And across in St. Kitts and Nevis, where there are 3 no-confidence motions in the National Assembly for almost 2 years now, an opposition grouping is again trying to get one of them debated and passed. The Speaker's position, however, remains that the matter is before the court and he has to await a ruling. Team Unity leader Timothy Harris has this time filed a constitutional motion in the High Court asking that the Speaker be directed to schedule his no-confidence motion, filed on September 15, to be debated at the next sitting of the National Assembly.
The current government has long lost the support of the majority of the representatives who are elected by the people. Yet it is being kept in power by illegal, unconstitutional, and undemocratic means. We cannot allow this travesty to continue. Our country must insist that our leaders respect the law and uphold our Constitution. I therefore call upon all our citizens and residents to support this fight to preserve our democracy.
The administration of Prime Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas has lost control of the National Assembly with the departure of a number of parliamentarians on his side. They, however, remain members of the House. Jamaica's government has granted permission to Ireland's Tullow Oil to begin offshore exploration under the terms of an agreement whose value has not yet been disclosed. A Tullow representative says the agreement calls for the Irish oil company to carry out low-cost studies on the Walton Basin and Moran Basin areas that cover 32,065 square kilometers off Jamaica's south coast. The oil company says that a contract is effective from November 1, 2014, and it commits Tullow to carry out low-cost studies, reprocessing work, and if the company elects to proceed, acquisition of new 2D and 3D seismic in the initial 3.5-year exploration period. The production sharing agreement to be executed by Tullow Oil and the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica will help gather information on how much oil is in the island's 10 full blocks. News of the agreement was released at the same time that Tullow announced its decision to revise operating costs in French Guyana, where they have significant costs booked for the Zadius discovery and the subsequent appraisal wells. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Peruvian counterpart Ollanta Humala on Wednesday signed a memorandum of understanding to create a trilateral working group for a bi-oceanic railway project between Peru and Brazil. This is one of the 7 agreements reached between both countries during Humala's official visit to China after attending Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. Besides participating in a railroad project, China will also give $11.5 million to Peru under an economic cooperation agreement. The signing of the memorandum is a progress in the initiative of railroad construction between Peru and Brazil, connecting Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The deal was signed by Peruvian Ministry of Transport and Communications, Brazilian Ministry of Transport and National Development, and the Reform Commission of China. In July, China and Brazil signed a bilateral agreement that would allow China to invest in Brazilian railways. Humala and Xi also signed cooperation agreements in the fields of hydrocarbons and mining. The presidents also talked about the project of construction and implementation of National Emergency Operation Centers, National Defense Institute of Peru, and China's donation of wheelchairs to Peru. In New York, firefighters rescued 2 workers who were washing windows on the side of the New World Trade Center skyscraper and were left suspended there when some of the cables on hanging scaffold broke. The incident occurred outside the 69th floor of the so-called Freedom Tower, standing on part of the site of the Twin Towers, which were destroyed in the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. For half an hour, the two men remained secured to the scaffolding, which was moving slightly in the wind, while they waited to be rescued, according to local ABC television broadcasts. Finally, firefighters cut through one of the building's windows at about 2:15 p.m., rescued the two workers, taking extreme precautions to be sure that they did not fall. The steel and glass tower stands 542 meters high and it dominates the city's skyline. It opened its doors on November 3 when the first renters, the Condé Nast publishing firm, took occupancy, renting a third of the available space from the building's owner, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Dominica's government has signed an agreement with Range Developments for the construction of a luxury hotel on the Caribbean island, the first approved real estate project under a program that offers citizenship to investors. The Cabrit's Resort Kempinski Dominica will be a 101-room hotel on Douglas Bay on the island nation's North Shore. Kempinski Hotels said in a statement Wednesday. The resort will be surrounded by the Cabrit's National Park, an area known for its natural beauty, the hotel group said. The luxury hotel is the first government-approved real estate project under Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program. Investors can obtain citizenship by purchasing a share in the development for $200,000. Dominica's government has chosen a partner that has experience in the citizenship by investment business, said Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, adding that an operator that is well known for high quality of its hotels. The hotel is Range Development's second project in the Caribbean, following the launch of the Park Hyatt St. Kitts, due to open late next year. The head of the Science Policy and Sustainable Development Division of UNESCO, Leda Brito, says 45% of the scientific researchers in Latin America are women. During a speech in Montevideo at the Ecosystems of Innovation in Latin America, Policies, Institutions, and Impact, which has been held through Friday at the Spanish Training and Cooperation Center in Uruguay, Brito provided various figures regarding the region's research and development situation. Brazil and Mexico produce 30% of the new science PhD holders in the region, she said, adding that 45% of the scientific researchers in the region are women. 90% of research and development investment is concentrated in 4 countries, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Mexico. But Brazil has 60% of that funding, according to the latest science report produced by UNESCO. Countries like Mexico and Argentina are positioning themselves very well and are standing out on the international level, but Brazil is the country that is the truly scientific player in research and development, according to Brito.
We are 15 states with a common goal, a unified purpose to face the world, enriching lives, empowering people, creating a strong economic region. No matter where you're from, no hassle, just freedom. Whether business, rule, or pleasure, we will benefit together. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. Oh yeah!
And that's it for Caribbean News Desk for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dennis Chabot. Don't forget you can visit us on our website at caribnewsdesk.com.